Welcome to summer school with Mrs. Hasty. Nutrition, exercise, water, sunlight, temperance, clean air, rest, and trust all make a healthier you.
Do you know what temperance means? That's a big word. Temperance means moderation in your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. Moderation is a big word too. Temperance and moderation mean having self-control, being in control of yourself. Let's do a clapping song. You ready? Temperance. Moderation, self-control. What does that mean? Having patience, waiting your turn, making the good choice, setting boundaries, knowing when to stop, only taking one. Those are all examples of having temperance. Having control over yourself. Can you think about a time when you need self-control? What about when you eat a treat?
Yes.
Treats are yummy, aren't they? But we don't want to have too many. Or when we stay up late to watch a movie? It's fun to stay up late, but we don't want to do it too often or too late. There's other things like drugs and alcohol that are bad for our bodies. These are times when we need to have self-control. If you have self-control, wait your turn. If you have self-control, wait your turn. If you have self-control, you'll be happier for doing it. If you have self-control, wait your turn. If you have self-control, use an inside voice. If you have self-control, use an inside voice. If you have self-control, you'll be happier for doing it. If you have self-control, use an inside voice. If you have self-control, don't touch. If you have self-control, don't touch. If you have self-control, you'll be happier for doing it. If you have self-control, don't touch. Having self-control can be hard. Sometimes we just want it now, but we have to wait. And sometimes we want to hit or yell or scream because we're mad. Those are called impulses, things our bodies just want to do without us even thinking about it. But we need to have control over our impulses, self-control. Next time you have an impulse to do something, let's practice this. Put your hands on your belly and pretend it's a balloon. Take a deep breath to the count of 2. And then breathe out slowly to the count of 5. Let's try it one more time. Once we take our deep breaths, we can calm ourselves down, think more clearly, and have control over our impulses. Think about the decision you have to make and make the good choice. Let's meet a creature that has self-control.
Hi everybody, my name is Steve and we are here at the Lopsided Hive Homestead, and we wanted to talk to you guys today about our honeybees. And there's actually a lot of cool things you can learn about God and God's love for us from honeybees. And so I've got some helpers here who are going to teach us a little bit about the different kinds of bees and some of the tools that we use for taking care of honeybees. So why don't we start? Maybe you can tell me about what you're holding. What do you have?
This is a flame that they put all the honey in.
So that's a frame that the bees can build their wax on, and they fill it with honey or they fill it with eggs. And what do you have? Oh, cool. That's a hive tool. And that hive tool is used for helping to lift things up and to help break things open. Yeah, to lift up the frames, because when those bees build their wax and their comb, it can make it hard to open the boxes sometimes. So you need that special tool. Now, Lucy, what do you have?
I have a smoker, and it makes bees think of the fire so they eat all the honey, and then they get really tired.
Yeah, a smoker helps actually calm the bees down, but it does that kind of by tricking them, because they think that their hive is on fire. They start to eat all the honey, and then they actually get really sleepy, and so they calm down, which is kind of a funny way to calm down, by eating a lot of honey. And Milo, what do you have? What tool do you have?
A hive brush.
And what do you do with a hive brush?
To let the bees off of the frames.
Oh, if you need to look at the frame, you use that hive brush to carefully and gently brush them off. That's right. And so there's lots of tools that you use for taking care of honeybees. And there's actually different kinds of bees. Do you guys know does anybody know a different type of bee?
I do.
What kind of bee do you know about, Emmeline?
A queen bee.
A queen bee. And what's special about a queen bee?
That they lay eggs.
Oh, the queen bee is the one that lays the eggs, and she's the biggest, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And there's just one queen bee in each hive. Does anybody else know about a type of bee?
Me.
Oh, Oliver, what kind of?
A guard bee.
A guard bee. What's a guard bee do?
They stand at the front of the door, and no strange bees come in.
Oh, it helps protect the hive by standing guard at the front to make sure those other strange bees don't come in and steal their honey. What other bees do you know about, Lucy?
The nurse bees, they take care of the queen.
The bees that take care of the queen? That's right. And Milo, did you know about a type of bee too?
A drone bee.
What's the drone bee do?
Like the queen.
Oh, they're in charge of mating with the queen. And then what happens to the drone bee though at the end of each summer? Oliver, what do your guard bees do to those drone bees?
Kick them out.
They kick the drone bees out. All those boy bees get kicked out of the hive at winter time, and I guess that's just how it goes. That's right. Thank you so much for helping us learn about those different kinds of bees. You guys did a really good job, and thanks for sharing your tools. Let's open up one of these hives and we'll take a look inside.
Is one of the guard bees?
No.
Hey kids, all right, we're gonna sneak inside this hive and kind of check out what's happening with the activity of the bees right now. It is almost July, it's the end of June. It is really hot day. The bees are super busy right now collecting nectar and pollen. They're storing up for the winter. They're preparing and getting everything that they need to get. Right now, clover is their choice flower. And if you live anywhere where there's clover all over your yard, it's those pretty little white flowers that are blooming. The honeybees love those. It's a great source of food. All right, so I'm going to use my hive tool that we talked about earlier, and we're gonna pull out one of these frames and see if we can see some larvae or some eggs, and just look at these bees working.
I can see some eggs on this side.
Oh yeah. So this is a very busy hive. It is packed full of bees.
Well, I see some eggs on this side.
Yeah, and you can see these are all the nurse bees. They are taking care of the eggs and the larvae. So if you look deep inside some of these holes, you might see some little eggs or some little larvae. This brown capping on it means that the larva is as big as it's gonna get. They cap it off, and then they wait for it to change into a baby bee. And when the bee hatches out, it'll just chew that off and it'll come right out. I want you to notice around the sides here, see how it's kind of a clear capping? That's honey. And the bees have prepared honey stores for when the baby bees hatch out. It's something for them to eat. So God has created these bees to think of everything. They've got the nurse bees who take care of the eggs and the larvae, and then they cap them off. And then when they hatch out, they already have food stored for them. I want to show you another one. Besides taking care of the eggs and the larvae, they also need to, like we had said, store up for winter. So they need to be thinking about winter, even though it is the middle of summer right now.
Oh, there's 100 eggs over here.
Oh yeah, you'll see a lot. So you'll notice this frame, they're preparing, they're filling in with honey. Can you kind of see how these little cells are all shiny? That's full of the nectar. And what they do is they fill up all these little cells and then they dry it out, and when it's perfect for honey, they'll cap it. And this is honey that's ready to go. Look at that. You could eat that up. It is sticky and sweet, made just for you.
Oh, Mama, I see some honey on this one.
Yeah. You know, honeybees are really good workers. God has made them where everybody has a job, like the kids were telling you before, and everybody sticks to their job too. They do the very best that they can, and they work. I know you've all heard the saying, busy as a bee. Well, these are some very busy bees, and they're each responsible to make this hive successful. If one of them didn't do their job, it would make more work for the other bees, or the hive would die and they wouldn't be able to survive. So they all have to work together to prepare for the winter and make sure that they have enough food that'll last them the whole winter long. Thanks for joining us today.
For this science experiment, we're going to play a few games to test our impulse control. For the first game, you need to move back. Move back. Keep on going. Move away from the screen. Okay, now we're ready to play our first game. We're going to play green light, red light. Have you ever played before? When I say green light, come closer. Red light, stop. Green light. Red light, stop. Green light. Red light, stop. Good job. Now we're going to change the rules. Now, when I say red light, you're going to come closer, and green light, you're going to stop. Those are some confusing rules, aren't they? You'll have to slow down and think about what you're doing so that you can follow the new rules because they're a little confusing. Move back again. Okay, let's play. Red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light. Was that hard to play with the way the rules changed? We had to use some self-control to control our mind and our impulses to follow the confusing rules. Let's play another game. The last game we're going to play today is called Clap Color. You'll clap until you see a color on the screen. When you see red, put your hands on your head. Clapping again. When you see blue, put your hands on your shoulders. Clapping again. When you see yellow, then you fold your hands. Red on head, blue on shoulders, yellow, fold hands. Are you ready to try this game? Red, blue, yellow, 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 red, blue, Can you do it without me? How did you do? Are you ready to change the rules? Now, instead of red, blue, and yellow, we're going to do red, fold your hands, blue, hands on your head, and yellow, hands on your shoulders. Do you think you can control your impulses and be able to follow the directions even though they've changed? Let's see. Yellow, red, blue, blue, red, yellow. Can you do it without me? Was it hard to follow the rules at first? What about when I changed the rules to the games? Change is hard, isn't it? Especially after we've already learned something. Our mind and our body wants to follow its impulses, do what it already thinks is right. These games were designed to help us slow down and pay attention to what we're doing. If we slow down and we really think about it, we can follow the rules, even after they've changed. When we slow down to make decisions, we're in better control of ourselves. We call that self-control. And when we have self-control, we make better decisions. Have you ever been in a tough situation? A situation where someone made you angry, where you just wanted to hit, yell, or fight back? In situations like that, especially when you're treated wrongly, it can be hard to have self-control. It can be hard to be the better person. Jackie Robinson was the first African American to play Major League Baseball, and he was the perfect man for the job. He was a very talented athlete, but also he had courage, self-control, determination, and he believed in change. There were some people who thought that Major League Baseball should stay segregated. That means that they thought that only people with white skin should play Major League Baseball. Some of them were prejudiced, others were racist. Jackie Robinson was called mean names. He was threatened, and he was treated unfairly by the fans, by the umpires, journalists, and even sometimes his own teammates. I'm sure that that hurt his feelings. I'm sure that it made him angry. And sometimes it was probably harder than he even expected. But he decided that he would always have self-control. Robinson chose not to scream, hit, or fight back. Instead, he spoke out. Calmly but firmly, he protested the unfair umpire calls, the hotels that wouldn't let him stay with his teammates, and the teams that wouldn't allow black players. He also chose to focus on playing his best game. In his first season, he was named Rookie of the Year. Robinson was the first African American player to be inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 1962. All of Major League Baseball saluted him in 1997 on the 50th anniversary of his breaking the color barrier, and they permanently retired his number from the game. What do you think would have happened if Jackie Robinson had failed to control himself? Would he have been able to speak out for change in the same way? Because he had control over himself, people respected him and listened to what he had to say. It's hard to stay in control of ourselves, especially when we're angry or when people do us wrong. Jackie Robinson is a good role model, someone that we can think of when we're frustrated or angry, to remember to keep control and to stay calm and speak out calmly but firmly for the right. Are you ready to do another craft? Mm-hmm. Good. Today we're going to make a self-controller. Have you ever used a remote control for a television? No? Well, this is a remote control for you. Let's build one. If you're making it at home, you'll need some kind of a small box. I used an old pencil box. Some aluminum foil, some circular stickers, or if you don't have circular stickers, you could cut out circular pieces of paper and use some glue, and some black permanent markers. Make sure an adult is helping you with the permanent markers. Let's start by putting our pencil box in our aluminum foil. Help me roll it up. Good. Then we're going to fold this part down. And this side too. Does it look like a remote control? Let's add some stickers for buttons. Put some buttons on.
So, is that a button?
Yes, remote controls always have buttons, right?
Let's see. What for?
It's a self-controller to control you. Did you know that we have control over the words we say, the thoughts we think, and the actions our bodies do? We want to have self-control so that we can make sure that our words, our thoughts are kind, and we make good choices about what actions to do with our body. This self-controller will help us remember to slow down and think about our choices. Are you ready to do some other stickers?
Yeah.
Okay, if you're done with these ones, then we're going to move on to these. We need one red one at the top. Good. Then we need one yellow in the middle, right here. Good. And then we need one green just below. Okay, on our red button, I'm going to write the word stop. That button reminds us that when our face gets hot, our muscles get tight, or we start shaking a little bit, we need to stop. And then the yellow, I'm going to write think. After we stop, we need to think, what would be the best choice for me to make? Then the green says, act. Once we've thought about it, then it's time to act. Stop, think, and act. You have a self-controller. Thanks for joining me for summer school today. And don't forget to come back again for more learning fun.
Let's have fun learning how to be a healthier you.